One of the most forgotten aspects when it comes to zombies has to be achievements, and today we're going to be unlocking every achievement in Black Ops 2 Zombies. Whether it was an Easter egg or something completely random, that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. My name is Prematch, now let's go ahead and get right into this. Starting off with our first map, Transit, I immediately started going after an achievement, and that was actually to buy 2 perks before the power was turned on using the turbine, so I went ahead and bought Quick Revive right away. Once we rode the bus over to the diner, I went ahead and started to build the zombie shield, and that's because another achievement requires us to build every single buildable on this map. Once I got to the farm after riding the bus, it was time to get my first achievement unlocked in this video, and that was going to be by drinking a second perk before the power was turned on, which gives us Happy Hour. So that's one achievement out of 50, let's go ahead and move on. After turning on the power at the power station, I bought Tombstone because this perk is actually required to get an achievement. But while we were collecting parts for the electric trap buildable, FaZe Gamer freaking missed the jump and fell into the lava pit and died. So yeah. But either way, I went ahead and finished the electric trap buildable, which meant that we only had one more left to build. And for those who are wondering, the jet gun does not count for this achievement, it's only the other 4. And after painfully running through the fog, I killed a denizen, which actually gave me this achievement right here, which is pretty nice. After I left the town, I went ahead and got another denizen to jump on my head, so that way I could get him to dig a hole under a lamppost, which gives me another achievement, which is called Fuel Efficient. When I went back to the farm, I was searching everywhere for the pieces to build this last buildable, but I just could not find them. I thought they were inside of this shed that you see here, but even then they weren't in there, so I was very confused, but I did end up finding it, as you can see right here. And once I placed the lawnmower onto the crafting table, I got the turret buildable, which gave me this achievement. On round 14, when we had just a few zombies left, it was now time for us to get that achievement which requires the Tombstone perk, and that is to just simply grab my Tombstone. Now, this would be better to do on town because the map is so much smaller, but because we were in the same area, we went ahead and decided to do it. And as you can see here, all I have to do is grab the Tombstone to get this achievement, Dance on My Grave, which is a pretty cool name for an achievement. You know that point when you're playing Transit and you're at the town and you have no bullets? Well, this is the moment we were currently in. All we had left was a B23R with a few bullets in it to survive, and as you can see, I almost died right here. This is my least favorite part about Transit, honestly, is just the fact that the town has no guns. This would be a persistent issue throughout the entire time I was playing this map for this video. At this point, we were trying to hit the box over and over again to get EMP grenades to do the Easter egg on this map, but unfortunately on round 19, after FaZe Gamer already bled out, I freaking went down, which would give us a game over. We actually did get a good bit of achievements unlocked on our first run through, but now it was time to go back into our second match, hoping we would get all of them on this run. And after loading back in on round 1, my teammate, also known as the worst zombies player ever, went down on round 1, so I did have to end up saving him because he is terrible at zombies. Once we got to the diner, I went ahead and opened up this shed, and that's because this shed holds one of the pieces that we need to make the party bus. For those who don't know what the party bus is, basically, once you upgrade the bus with all the parts that you can put on it, it gives you an achievement. Once we went to the farm, I opened up this shed here and I grabbed this next piece. After my friend put the ladder piece on the side of the bus, I went in the bus to put this piece on the roof, and once I did that, I got the achievement Undead Man's Party Bus. We went back to the diner because we actually had to hit the box again to get EMP grenades, and on round 13, we actually got them, which is very, very important. And that's because one of the achievements that we have to get is to pacify 10 zombies with an EMP grenade, giving us the Lights of Their Eyes achievement. So the next achievement that I went for was pretty confusing, and it was actually a huge time waster. We were waiting for the Avogadro to show up because one of the achievements is to kill him before he attacks you. Well, I did end up hitting him with an EMP grenade, but unfortunately he did hit me, as you saw there, so we had to wait for him to spawn back again. And after surviving in the town, the Avogadro showed back up again a few rounds later. I immediately threw an EMP grenade at him, and I killed him before he attacked me, which meant that I should have got the achievement, but I still didn't get it. So we were very confused, and the only thing that I could think of is that you had to use Galvanuckles or some type of melee attack specifically in order to get this achievement. It was super annoying, but we really had no idea what was going on. But it was pretty late in the night, and we just did not want to keep playing Transit anymore, so we went ahead and ended the match. I would eventually do this achievement later, but I went ahead and did something a little bit different just to break it up a bit, and this required me to go into a separate match. In this particular match, I was visited by Rolex, also known as Ozer for anyone who's wondering. And the reason why we had to go into a separate match is because we had to unlock every single door on Transit without getting touched by the fire one time. So this is a pretty tough task on a map that has fire everywhere and a bunch of doors all over the place. And mind you, you have to open every single door, not just the buyable ones, but also the ones with the turbine as well. We ended up having 2 failed attempts for this achievement. One of them I died at the power center, and the other one, my teammate ended up stepping on some fire at the town, and after hearing this information, I literally just ended the game, because there was no point in playing it anymore. If you're wondering why we are on Buried in this gameplay right now, well, it's because after our first 2 failed attempts, we were so over Transit at this point, we decided to go ahead and buy the AN94 off the wall on Buried and put it in the fridge so that way we could grab a gun from the fridge on Transit just to help us out a bit. I am going to say this now for anyone who's wondering. I did try to limit the use of the bank and the fridge to a minimum, and that's because I feel like it's pretty cheesy to just pull out 100 grand from the bank. So I did try to limit it, but it is in the game, so technically it's not breaking the rules. You know what I mean. When we decided to pull our weapons out of the fridge, we actually got Galils instead of AN94s, and that's because the AN94 does not exist on Transit, so it actually gives you a Galil instead, which is pretty cool. After placing the turbine down next to the outhouse that goes into the power center, freaking Rolex went down at the town, but it's okay, it didn't matter, and that's because we still got the Pack-a-Punch door opened, and that's all that mattered. We actually didn't need to go down there or anything. Once I made it to the town, I was super careful to not accidentally step on any of the fire in these cracks while I opened up these doors, and I officially made it to the last door that I had to open, which goes to the rare bookstore, giving us the Don't Fire Until You See achievement. This one actually took a lot longer than you guys probably think to obtain, but we went ahead and got it anyway. It did not matter. But next up, we decided to go and attack this Easter egg. At first, we tried to attempt the Easter egg with 4 players because we thought we needed 4. It turns out we didn't need 4, but what was really nice is the fact that my teammates actually killed the Avogadro before they attacked him while I was running through the fog. So we got that achievement marked off the list, but afterwards we decided it would be easier with 2 people to complete this Easter egg. We thought that we needed 4 because you have to hit 4 lamps at the same time with the EMP grenades, but it actually turns out you only need 2. But once we went in with 2 people on this Easter egg, we had 2 failed attempts back to back, which was super demoralizing, especially on a map like Transit, which is just so insufferably awful to play. But on our 3rd attempt, me and Manual Stream 261 did manage to get the jet gun built, and we did the first step of the Easter egg, which is to simply shoot the jet gun up into this tower until the jet gun breaks. There really wasn't that many steps to this Easter egg. The second one was to kill 25 zombies under the tower with explosives, and then after that, we just had to get EMP grenades out of the mystery box for the last step, and then that would be the Easter egg completed. However, this would be easier said than done, and that's because I had never done this Easter egg before, so I was going into it blind. I was watching a guide while playing. In order to do the last step, you and your teammate have to throw an EMP grenade and jump into this portal, and then throw another EMP grenade, disabling all 4 lamps in that process, but you have to do it super freaking quick. Like, you basically have to do it instantly, and if you don't do it right, you will not end up accomplishing that achievement, which is so bad. And what's even stupider about it is that you have to throw the EMP grenade basically as soon as you teleport to the next location, and it might not be in the direction of the lamp. As you just saw, I missed over something I had no freaking control over, so we didn't even finish the Easter egg. It was so stupid. And every single time that you mess this up, you have to wait for a max ammo power-up to drop because you have to get more EMP grenades. And you guys are not going to believe this, but when I jumped through this lamp right after I threw the EMP grenade, I went to throw my other one, and the EMP grenade bounced directly into this lava pit failing the Easter egg step once again. And this didn't happen just one time, it happened twice in the same game, back to back, and then it almost happened a third time, but we did get this Easter egg completed. Oh my goodness, we are finally done with Transit. It is time to leave this abomination of a map and move on to a map that in comparison is far better than this one. Believe it or not, Nuketown Zombies actually does not have any achievements on it. However, Die Rise does have achievements, and oddly enough, this map has the least amount of achievements of all the mainline maps in Black Ops 2, with 7 total achievements. And 6 of them you can actually do on solo. One of them, of course, is the 4-player Easter egg. But when I did hop into this map on solo, I actually got all of these solo achievements on my first playthrough. The first achievement that I went for was to face the dragon on round 1. Basically what that means is you have to get to the other skyscraper where the big dragon is, and in order to do this you actually have to craft the trample steam, so that's why you can see me with these parts here. I keep swapping back and forth between the two, and that is because on the transit maps, for those who don't know, on the transit crew maps, you are not allowed to just pick up all the parts and carry all of them at once. Like on Mob of the Dead and Origins, you have to carry one piece individually. And the goal here is to drop these pieces down a level or two, and that is because that's where the crafting table is for the trample steam. The process does take a couple of minutes to do, but it's really not too bad. You just have to be careful to not fall off the building on accident. But as you can see here, we now have access to the crafting table, and it's now time to build the trample steam. But it's just so annoying because you have to grab each part individually and place them on one by one, but at least it's there. And once you place the trample steam down in this spot, you can then get this achievement for facing the dragon head on round 1. This was actually not too difficult, but the next achievement I was going to go for was a little difficult, and that is to make it all the way to round 10 without turning on the power switch. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but it was definitely doable. After I bought all the wall buys on the top of this tower, I then hopped back over to the other tower, and there was 2 main reasons that I wanted to do this. One of them was to get the trample steam back because I had to use that for an achievement, and the other reason was to get some quick revive, which was pretty freaking amazing. Thankfully, quick revive is a perk that you can still buy even without having the power switch turned on, so I was definitely going to have that because I just did not want to go down on like round 9 to something stupid. The second achievement that I unlocked on this map was to kill 10 zombies with the trample steam flinging them, so there's that achievement right there. But quick revive is not the only perk you can get with the power switch turned off, and that's because if you don't know this, you can kill these jumping jacks here, and as long as you have 100% accuracy or just not fire any bullets, you will actually get a free perk when the round is over. And as you can see here, when I grabbed the free perk, we got some speed cola, which is helpful. You know, it's definitely better than some of the perks on this map. On round 7, I felt like it was a little bit too hectic to be sitting up here with these 2 wall guns and not a whole lot to work with, so I decided to go ahead and jump ship down to this other area. Falling down the elevator shaft, I bought the AN-94, one of the best wall weapons in COD Zombies history. I jumped across this stone beam back onto the bottom of the Dragon Head Tower, and the reason I came here was because I needed to build the Sliquifier, not just for an achievement, but also just to stay alive. After I built the Sliquifier, I went and camped in this kitchen right here, and I kept that door closed behind me, and this was going to be my strategy until round 10. After I killed the last zombie with this AN-94, I was a little concerned because the achievement didn't pop up yet. I just had to wait for round 10 to begin, and there we have it, Mad Without Power. This is the achievement for surviving to round 10 with no power. After turning on the power switch, finally, I went ahead and started to get my perks. I barely missed getting Jug right here, so that meant that I had to go all the way down and then all the way back up just so I could buy this freaking perk. I needed to go Pack-a-Punch, but I just so happened to be in Dead Man's Corner. The most dangerous spot in the Pack-a-Punch machine freaking went away. It was so annoying, but then I decided I was going to take advantage of this opportunity. One of the achievements that I had to get with the Sliquifier was actually to kill 5 zombies with 1 chain shot of this thing. This was a super easy achievement. It wasn't hard to do at all. If you've ever went for a high round, then you've gotten this achievement like a million times in one match. But I did get it, Slippery when undead, so that's one more to knock off the list. I had to Pack-a-Punch to not only stay alive, but also because one of the achievements on this map was to use the Pack-a-Punch and all the perk machines in one match. And that's the reason why I had to down myself here, is because I needed to go down and lose my perks, so that way I could buy other perks from the machines that I haven't bought from yet. And I went ahead and got Mule Kick marked off this list. And after having a super dangerous, almost downing situation, I went ahead and bought Jug, just so I wouldn't die while trying to do this achievement. After hopping back over to the other tower, I went and bought Who's Who, and if you're wondering why I didn't get this achievement yet for buying all the perks, Well, it's because the speed cola that I got from earlier was for free from the jumping jack round. I didn't actually use the speed cola machine. I had to use it in order to get this achievement. But after drinking speed cola from its actual machine, I was given the achievement Shafted, which again is for using Pack-a-Punch and all perk machines on the map. But now it was time to blow myself up once again because I needed to get the last solo achievement, which was to revive myself in Who's Who. And look at this awful Who's Who spot, man. I'm telling you, this is one of the worst perks in COD Zombies history. I did manage to swindle these couple zombies here, and it turns out you actually do keep your equipment in Who's Who. So the Claymores did allow me to revive myself, but just look at how terrible that spot is. Like, I just can't understand how this perk made it past the drawing board. But whatever, it is what it is. We had now completed every single solo achievement on Die Rise, and it was now time to do the Easter egg. One of the hardest parts of this Easter egg was literally trying to join each other. I feel like the servers were just messed up on this day or something, but we did manage to get it to work after like 30 minutes of struggling. But we did manage to get into the map, and it was time to get this Easter egg started. Just like the solo match that I played, the first step was to get down to the Trample Steam build table by falling down these little spots right here, and it was actually so much nicer because we all could carry an individual part, so you didn't have to do the stupid part swapping thing. I'm not sure if you need the nav cart table for this Easter egg because you didn't need it for transit, but all the guides that I watched did tell me to get the nav cart table built, so I went ahead and got all the pieces for it. Not only have I never done any Black Ops 2 Easter eggs before this, but everybody else in this match had never done the Die Rise Easter egg before, and the only reason that we got this done is because I watched a guide throughout this whole thing, so it was very difficult to try to explain to 3 other people who don't know what to do what exactly they need to be doing and where they need to be, because we have to have constant communication throughout this Easter egg because we all have to do certain things at the exact same time. And we have to do all those steps at the same time at completely different spots from one another on the map, literally across the entire map. We went ahead and built the Sliquifier, but we actually didn't even need it for the Easter egg. I just assumed that we would need it, but we actually didn't. And just for anyone who's wondering, we are doing the Maxis side of this Easter egg, unlike Transit, where we did the Richthofen side. We decided to go ahead and knock out some of the steps early on because some of them actually don't require anything but to stand in certain spots on the map, so it was going to be easier to do that on low rounds. And when we finally got everybody in their correct spot, we all stood on these little rings that you see here, which was the first step of the Easter egg. Steps like this is what requires this Easter egg to be 4 players, because all of us have to be standing on them across the map from each other all at the exact same time. The second step required us not to stand on a bunch of rings at the exact same time, but to hit them in a certain order. And they are across the entire map, and if you end up hitting the one that's wrong in the order, you have to restart it. But believe it or not, we actually got this on our first try. I'm not sure what the odds are of this. I'm not sure if it's just the same ones every time. I really have no idea, but we had no issue with it at all. The next step of the Easter egg was to grab a sniper rifle so you can shoot these big balls out of the dragon's mouths. So once we did this, Easter egg was complete, so thank goodness Manual Stream had enough money to buy the SVU off the wall, again, to shoot those really big balls out of the dragon's mouths. So skipping round 6 and going into round 7... we got a free perk from the jumping jack rounds, so this was going to help us out. We did kill them with the Trample Steam. I got some quick revive, which I would definitely need because my teammate Get Lost is terrible at Call of Duty Zombies. But I guess I'm also terrible at Call of Duty Zombies because when I went to go revive Get Lost, I freaking missed the jump. Unfortunately, yes, I did bleed out from this, but while spectating Manual Stream, he actually downed himself on purpose so he could get rid of his Who's Who, which he got from the free perk from the jumping jacks. That is how bad that perk really is. When it came to the next step of the Easter egg, it was a little bit confusing. You were supposed to kill zombies in the Buddha room, and we weren't sure exactly what to do the first time. Apparently, you had to have all players in the Buddha room. We didn't know that, but eventually we did get this step completed. But the next step of this Easter egg is so stupid. All you have to do is get the ballistic knife out of the mystery box and just Pack-a-Punch it and shoot it in the Buddha room. That's literally the only step. If it was not for this stupid pointless step, which makes no sense, then you would not have to hit the box and waste time and points on useless RNG. That is literally the only step that I hate about this Easter egg. One of the coolest Easter egg steps gimmick-wise has to be this one on Die Rise, where you basically all place the Tramples teams down in different spots and it flings the balls back and forth. It's actually really cool. After this, it was time to do the last step of the Easter egg, which was to input the code by punching these metal beams on this tower. In order to figure out this code, I had to find 8 of these Mahjong or Mojang tiles, whatever they're called. Basically, whenever you see one, it corresponds with a specific number, and that specific number corresponds with a side of the tower being north, south, east, and west. Because no one else had ever done this Easter egg before, I had to watch a guide while running around the map with zombies trying to figure out where these tiles were, and there are 11 possible locations for only 8 tiles to spawn in, so you might miss one and not realize it. But anyway, it was time to punch in this code on the tower, and we actually got pretty lucky. All we had to do was punch it in basically a straight clockwise order, and wouldn't you know it, we completed the Easter egg high maintenance. We had now completed all 7 achievements on Die Rise, and it was now time to move on to our next map. If you are a bit confused and wondering why I went back to Green Run, well, it's because the game mode Turned on the map Diner actually has 3 achievements, and this map did release alongside Die Rise in DLC 1. So I guess this makes up for Die Rise only having 7 achievements, because Turned on this map has 3, so it's technically 10 for DLC 1, but let's go ahead and get into this. So I thought that I got this first achievement here where basically you have to kill zombies with monkey bombs, and I was confused. I was like, how have I not gotten this thing yet? Well, it's because we actually messed up. You are not allowed to get these achievements in custom games. You have to do them in public matches. Well, luckily, the Turned servers on Black Ops 2 are mega dead. Literally nobody plays this game mode at all anymore on public match, so we were actually able to all queue up with one another in the public match slot. So my first achievement to unlock was actually to get a kill with every single weapon on the reverse gun game ladder. So at first it starts off, pretty normal, right? You have some pretty normal guns, but the last gun that you have in this reverse gun game ladder is the M1911. This is an extremely difficult weapon to get a kill with. Now, I know some people might be saying, okay, well, that's kind of cheesing it because you're supposed to do it in a public match. Look, this is a clip of me getting a bunch of kills with it on insta-kill right after, so you better not get mad at me. The other 2 achievements on Turned actually required the use of the Monkey Bomb power-up. The first one is simply to get kills with the Monkey Bomb power-up. Whenever you throw this thing, it actually gives a decoy of yourself for the zombies to go after. After you kill a zombie, all you have to do is grab the next Monkey Bomb and you will have the achievement Monkey See, Monkey Doom. So the other achievement is actually for the exact opposite that requires a Monkey Bomb power-up. And that's because I actually had to be a zombie. All I had to do was get a player to throw a Monkey Bomb, and then I had to kill them when they were invisible once they threw it, and then I got the achievement I See Live People. And that is going to be all of the achievements for Turned and DLC 1 as a whole. Now let's move on to our next map, Mob of the Dead. And now we have finally moved on to the true great maps of Black Ops 2, starting off with Mob of the Dead, where we actually got every single achievement in one match. So that is the best we've done so far with any of these maps, but let's go ahead and get into it. For starters, we went ahead and just got set up like normal because one of the achievements is actually for us to fly to the bridge and then come back 3 times. So we went ahead and tried to do all that. I did try to get an achievement right here where you have to open a door in Afterlife mode, but for some reason I didn't get the achievement for it. I think that it only works on like an actual door, not that gate down there, but it is what it is. If you see people join this match, it's simply because I left my status open. That way my subscribers could join and be in the video if they wanted to. It didn't affect the actual outcome of this. We still managed to get all the achievements in one game. So if you're wondering why sometimes there's 2, 3, or 4 players, it's simply because I left that open. I didn't splice footage or anything. One of my subscribers, Madara, I think is how you pronounce it, actually helped me get one of the achievements that I needed. One of them was to upgrade and use all traps before round 10 on Mob of the Dead, and in order to get this achievement, we actually had to upgrade the sniper tower and turn it into the RPG tower, which was really cool, and I've never done this before, so that was pretty interesting. In between doing the traps achievement, I went ahead and put myself in Afterlife mode up in the infirmary, because in order to get one of the achievements, I had to unlock a door in Afterlife mode. So this was the last door we had to unlock, so I went ahead and got that achievement, Paranormal Progress. While we were up on top of the roof, we went ahead and got some parts to put on the plane because we were going to have to take this thing 3 times for 2 different achievements. I still had 2 traps that I had to activate to get another achievement, and one of them was the acid trap, which I went ahead and turned on. You don't have to kill any zombies with it, I don't think at least. You just have to activate all of them. And after running down to the warden's office, I was at the fan trap, which once I turned it on, I was given the achievement Trapped in Time. One of the achievements actually requires me to get the electric cherry perk, so I went ahead and bought that. After we fed the dogs, I went and grabbed the Hell's Retriever, which we do get an achievement for, which is pretty cool. And with the Hell's Retriever, we did get all the skulls to get the free Blundergat from the warden's office table, because I actually needed to get this thing for an achievement. And plus, just look at this thing, man. It is freaking awesome. One of the coolest wonder weapons ever, to be honest. And don't get mad at me, guys, but apparently I did not record the clip of me actually obtaining the Acid Gat, which was an achievement. But here's the achievement right here. You can see it on my Xbox 360 profile. If you don't believe me, there it is. But for somehow, I just didn't record the gameplay. So yeah, sorry guys, it is what it is. There are a lot of clips I have to record over and over for these videos, and I guess I somehow missed this one. But let's go ahead and move on. After we got all the pieces for the plane, we ended up crashing onto the bridge, getting this achievement, No One Escapes Alive. This is the achievement that you get for going to the Golden Gate Bridge for the first time. However, we did leave the bridge as fast as we could, simply because we had to come back here 2 more times, not just for a separate achievement, but also for the Easter egg. Like I said before, I had never done any Black Ops 2 Easter eggs, so it was super helpful to have Daniel here because he was the one who taught me how to do everything. First, we had to hit this poster here with the Hell's Retriever, and then we had to find 2 spoons. One of the spoons was in that hallway, and the other one was on this table here, and once we did that, it was time to do another Easter egg step. Well, I was mainly guided by my friend Daniel, so I really have no idea what I was doing. He just told me what to do. While hitting the mystery box, I actually got an AK-47, which is an exclusive weapon only on this map in OG COD Zombies, which meant that I just had to use this thing. If you guys remember when I bought Electric Cherry, I said there was going to be an achievement that I needed to do with it afterwards. And when I went back to the bridge, I tried to kill 10 zombies with 1 Electric Cherry burst, but for some reason it didn't work. I have no idea why this didn't work. I think it was because it was insta-kill or something. So we went ahead and did it a second time, and then it did work, giving us this achievement that you see right here. I got another achievement for surviving on the bridge past round 15, and there it is. I forgot to record it, but here's the proof. After we left the bridge, we went back to the prison, giving us another achievement for cycling back 3 times, but that wouldn't be the last time that we had to go to this bridge again. It was time to get an achievement that actually took quite a while to get, but it wasn't difficult, and that is Full Lockdown. Basically, you're supposed to get Brutus to break every single thing he could possibly break. Whether it's the plane, perks, the freaking crafting tables, this guy has to break all of it around the map, so you basically just have to drag him around until he does all this, and then you will get the achievement. After that, it was time to do the second to last step of the Easter egg, which was to go into this black and white mode and find all these headphone power-ups. And once you find the headphone power-ups, it basically gives you this brief story of what happened in the prison. And then, once this step is over, it was time to go back to the bridge once again. We went into Afterlife mode to get on the plane, because that is actually how you have to do this for the last step of the Easter egg. And once we were on the plane, we flew over to the bridge to do this final step. And once we got to the bridge, we had to go revive ourselves in Afterlife mode on the electric chair, and I actually got the achievement for doing the Easter egg right when I did this. So that was pretty cool, even though we didn't fight each other yet. But when I did end up getting into a fight, I actually died, but it did not matter because that meant that we completed every single achievement on Mob of the Dead in one match. Now it's time to move on to our next map. Moving on over to Buried, one of the coolest maps in Zombies, by the way, very unique. We have 10 exclusive achievements to unlock. Now, we didn't get all of them done in one game like Mob of the Dead, but we still did get a good bit of these done in this first match. One of the first steps to an achievement is to actually purchase the LSAT off the wall, and you only have one opportunity to do this because the floor will fall out from under you. One of the easier achievements to get on this map is to simply give Leroy candy, so I decided to go ahead and lock down the box so it wouldn't move on us anymore, which was pretty cool. In order for us to unlock another achievement pretty early on, we decided to go ahead and build both the subsurface resonator and the turbine. And that's because we had to get 10 kills with this thing in order to get our next achievement. And as you can see here, this is the most lazy freaking strategy of all time. All you need is a turbine and this subsurface resonator, and it will just blow all the zombies away in this jug hallway. It's absolutely insane, but it did work out and we got this achievement. Another achievement that we had to get was actually to open up every single area in the map with Leroy that is able to be opened. And we thought that the witch's house was the last one, but then I realized that I completely forgot about this random freaking barrier here that nobody ever opens in a regular game of Buried. But it does exist, and this is totally forgotten. There's actually even a buyable door back here that allows the player to have an access to the bottom floor of this barn or this stable, whatever this is, so that's pretty interesting. Manual Stream ended up getting the Paralyzer out of the box, but what's even better is that I got the Time Bombs out of the box. And the reason why this is better for me is because in order to get an achievement, all I have to do is literally just use the Time Bomb. Now, I didn't know if I had to use it on a different round, so I decided to wait until round 16 to use the Time Bomb because I didn't want to waste it. I wasn't sure if I had to go back in time one round or if I could just go back in time a few seconds, so I decided to play it safe. When we went back to round 16, this is where disaster struck because my teammate ended up going down to the witches outside of the witch's house right in front of it after I already entered, which was really bad because that meant that not only was he going to lose all of his money, but he was probably going to lose all of his stuff. So I tried my absolute best to run all the way back through to try to revive him. I lost so many points too, which was so annoying. I tried my absolute best, but in the end, I could not revive him, so sorry, Manual Stream. After this, I went ahead and went back to the maze, and I decided I was going to go ahead and kill the witch and get the free perk. And the reason is because this is actually an achievement that you can get. I tried to end the round so when Manual Stream spawned back in, he would get the perk as well, but the zombies were just taking forever, so I decided to go ahead and grab it. But there's the achievement, so, you know, it is what it is. We ended up having Daniel join us from the Mob of the Dead segment of this video, if you guys remember him. And just to let everybody know, during this match in particular, I did leave my status open so subscribers could hop in if they wanted to be in the video. Just like the Mob of the Dead segment of this video, if you see people coming and going, it's not splice footage. I just left it open so people could join. But once I got enough points, I managed to get a Vulturade zombie, which would allow me to pack-a-punch a weapon, which was going to be the LSAT. And remember how I bought this weapon at the beginning of this segment? It's because in order to get an achievement, I have to pack-a-punch the LSAT. So that was pretty cool, and that's one more achievement marked off the list. After Manual Stream spawned back in with only an M1911 to work with, he did manage to scrape up just enough points to pack-a-punch it to get the M1911. I basically had to be his backup to save him in case something bad happened, but at least he got a comeback. When we went back to the main burrow area, I first had to go through this well to get this achievement right here, which you get simply for jumping through the well for the first time. And the last achievement that I got in this particular match of Buried was Mazed and Confused. This is the achievement that you get if you survive an entire round in the maze past round 20, but that was going to be it for this particular match, but we still had 2 more achievements to get on this map. And one of them is actually one of the most unique and cool achievements in all of Zombies, in my opinion, and that is to pack-a-punch on round 1 on Buried. So again, huge shout out to Dirty Daniel 67, because if it wasn't for him, then I would not have been able to do this. He told me exactly what to do. He didn't do the steps for me, but he guided me on what to do. So again, huge shout out. Basically, it is possible to pack-a-punch on round 1 on Buried if you maximize the points from Leroy as well as maximizing the points from the chalk drawings. For example, he told me that if you actually run out of the jail before Leroy breaks the barrier with the booze, you actually get another booze that spawns in on the same round. So that was freaking awesome, and it really helped out. I tried to back Leroy up as much as possible, that way I could get the most amount of points on him breaking the barrier in front of Jug, and we got a lot of points from this, so that was super helpful. In order to get more booze, you will have to open up the saloon and purchase it from the register here. Now, it costs 1,000 points every time that you want to get booze, but if you back Leroy up enough, then you will actually profit every single time that you buy the booze, which is really, really good. I did try to line up Leroy here in this church in order for him to hit the well, which is possible, but this was my first time ever doing this, and I actually missed, which meant that I lost money. That was really bad, but it was still technically possible for me to complete this. I just could not get hit by the witches even once. One of the main things that we had to get open was the gunsmith, so I went ahead and gave Leroy some booze. He ran all the way down there and he missed again, which made me think, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose now. I'm not going to be able to do this because I clearly suck at doing this. But I decided to keep going and just see if I could manage to scrape by enough points to pack a punch on round 1. And with the entire game on the line, I did manage to hit the barrier with Leroy on the second attempt for the gunsmith, which was really good because that meant that I could place these chalk drawings down and get 1,000 points each per drawing that I placed, which was really, really good. I went ahead and placed the chalk drawings in the easier spots to obtain, but there were some spots that you had to open up doors to get, so we did find some workarounds. And that workaround was going to be the trample steam, because this would allow us to get into certain areas without having to actually purchase a door. And just like that, with the trample steam, I was able to get onto this balcony here on the saloon, and I could place down this chalk drawing to get 1,000 points, which was super good because otherwise, I would have had to open up that 750 point couch to get up here, which wouldn't have been as good of a profit. After this, I went and bought a cheap wall gun because I would need to use this for the witch's house, but then I realized, oh wait, I could have just bought the PDW, which would have been better than the pistol, but whatever, you know, it is what it is. And in order to get the last chalk drawing placement without having to open any doors, I used the trample steam to access this area, and the good thing about the last chalk drawing placement is that you actually get 2,000 points for it, which was super freaking helpful. In order to access the witch's house without having to spend any money on booze to open up the barrier, we went ahead and just used the trample steam to hop on over, and now it was the moment of truth. It was time to go into the witch's house, and you cannot afford to get hit once because you need to have just enough money to pack a punch a weapon. Things were going smoothly until I had this one hiccup here where I missed the witch. I had to reload. I was so nervous, but I did manage to get out of there alive, and I didn't lose any points, which was all I needed really. After getting the free perk from the witches, I ran all the way through the maze in order to get to the gazebo. I ran all the way downstairs to the pack-a-punch machine, put the pistol in there, and bam, we got the achievement Awaken the Gazebo. This is one of the most unique and challenging achievements that we've had to do so far, and it was actually enjoyable to do it, and I learned a lot more about Buried when it comes to the setup process. So let's go ahead and move on to the last achievement on Buried, which is going to be the Easter egg. And just like all the other Easter eggs in Black Ops 2, I had never done them before, but it was an interesting experience. I just wish that we would have had prior knowledge about how annoying some of these steps can actually be. For the most part, I would say that this Easter egg is kind of fun, especially in the first few steps, but once you reach the Round Infinity step, this is where things just went downhill for me. Maybe we were just doing it wrong. Someone in the comments, please let me know, but we had to go into Round Infinity like 6 times until we found the freaking switch. And you might think, okay, well, what's the big deal about that? You have to have a max ammo to get a new time bomb every single time you go into Round Infinity. Now, thankfully, we did do the Leroy strat where he turns the power up into a max ammo, but it was still annoying. It still took a long time, and it was just stupid. Like, I'm not sure if it's completely random, maybe we did it wrong, but having to go into Round Infinity over and over again until you finally get lucky enough to get the switch is just bad game design. And after being mazed and confused, you see what I did there, for about an hour on this step with the switches and the maze, we finally got it done, and it was time to move on to the next step. And that last step has to be one of the most infamous Easter egg steps of all time, which is Sharpshooter. This is a sick Easter egg step, I'm not gonna lie. This was really cool. Even though we failed it 10 times, it's still an awesome Easter egg step. After I shot my last target in the candy shop, I turned around and tried to help my teammate shoot the rest of his targets because I did not want to fail this again, but we finished it. Mind Games is completed. We had a Perkaholic, we had finished the Easter egg. It was insane. I mean, you guys should have been there. Like, we were so tired and drained at this point. But anyway, it's time to move on to our last map, which is Origins. And going into Origins, we had our last 10 achievements that we had to unlock in this video. We went ahead and decided to do an Easter egg run right away alongside me going after some other achievements. One of the achievements is simply to turn on all 6 generators, which is something I would do in a solo match anyway. Again, like I've said before, I have no idea how to do this Easter egg, but I did what I could to help get set up by grabbing staff parts and whatnot. And honestly, I was pretty scared to shoot this robot foot with the ballista of all weapons, but we did end up making it work, so it all worked out. While I went down to go grab the shield, we actually got an achievement for turning on all 6 generators, so it turns out I didn't even have to be standing on all of them. We just had to have all 6 of them turned on, so that's just a brain dead easy achievement. While riding the tank to get the lightning staff pieces, freaking Rolex died. Like, I have no idea how this freaking happened. He just died on the tank. But it all worked out. We did manage to get all the staff pieces at a relatively good manner, I would say. While sitting in the crazy place, my teammate got the last piece required to build the last staff, giving us the Playing with Power achievement, which is what you get for obtaining all staffs. There actually is another achievement that you get for wielding all 4 staffs in one game, which I did end up doing, and after grabbing every single staff, I got the achievement Master Wizard, which kind of sounds like not a very good achievement name, but even though I got this achievement, it actually led to our downfall on this run because I ended up trading out this weapon for the AK-74U Wallbuy. The problem with this is that now the fire staff glitched out when I did this, and we had to restart the entire run because we couldn't do the Easter egg anymore, so that really sucked. Basically, the fire staff was just deleted from the match. It glitched out when I did this. It was not on the pedestal down here. It was not on the pedestal in the crazy place, so we simply had to restart. It did suck, but it is what it is. We had to restart. On our second attempt, we had a much more optimized run when it came to the Easter egg, and that's because we didn't have to do that many more achievements, and the ones that we still had left to do, I decided to put them on the back burner and just try to focus on this Easter egg. While my teammates who actually did have experience with this Easter egg before were up top doing all the steps, I was the designated zombie trainer down in the crazy place. There actually weren't that many steps that all 4 players had to do for the Easter egg, except for this one right here, where you have to basically punch the white smoke off of these zombies' hands in order to get the upgraded fist. And right as we were doing the last few steps of the Easter egg, my teammate ended up going down, and as I ran up to go revive them, I actually took it down as well, so that meant that both of us were going to bleed out, and it was up to our last 2 remaining teammates to complete the Easter egg. And to my surprise, you actually get the achievement for beating the Easter egg before you actually do the final step when you release the Maxis drone. So I'll take the achievement, sure, but technically the Easter egg wasn't over, so we did decide to finish it out. The Maxis drone was released, and then we got a game over because we had officially finished the Easter egg. Now, unfortunately, the game over required us to restart to get the rest of the achievements, but it was satisfying to beat this Easter egg. One achievement that you have to get on this map is to revive 3 teammates and turn on a generator while in zombie blood mode in one single game. Now, technically, I could have done this over the course of an entire match, but you kind of have to time things right, and you have to get lucky when you get the zombie blood power up, so we tried to go ahead and knock it all out in this one go here, and as you can see, it actually worked out. We got the achievement for this, so that was pretty freaking awesome. Immediately after that achievement was unlocked, I dug up a Remington from a dig site and shared it with a teammate, which gave me this achievement right here, Not a Gold Digger. After that achievement was completed, we hopped back into another match of Origins, and we dropped 1 player, but this would be the last match of this video. One of these achievements required me to revive a teammate in 4 different ways in one single match, and the traditional revive, as you just saw there, was one of them, so we went ahead and knocked that out. Another one of our last achievements was to actually get every single reward from the challenge box in the spawn room and at Gen 6, and one of those is to fill up all the soul boxes, so we went ahead and started working on that pretty early on. Another achievement required me to shoot the Panzer's little red dot after he grabs me with a Panzer Claw so I can be freed. But it wasn't just for me, because I also had to do it with a teammate as well. And thankfully my teammate Rolex was caught by the Panzer and I freed him by shooting his red dot, so now all I had to do was get caught myself. And after getting this Panzer to chase me around for about another minute, I did manage to get this achievement, Kung Fu Grip. After turning on all 6 generators giving us this challenge reward, and filling up all the soul boxes giving me this challenge reward, we now only had 2 more left to complete that achievement. And for anyone who's wondering, yes, I did clutch up this situation because I am the best zombies player ever. I mean, some people say I'm the best in the world at this game mode. Remember how I said that I have to revive a teammate in 4 different ways? Well, it was time to get the second one, and that was actually just to revive somebody with Quick Revive. And the third method that I used to revive somebody was by using the Maxis drone, which I honestly feel like is kind of underutilized for this reason. And after getting 115 headshots, I got the reward from the chest for doing so I ran all the way down to the spawn room and grabbed my reward, which was a Pack-a-Punch Galil. This also meant that I had one more challenge left to complete, and that was to spend 30,000 points for that achievement. On round 15, the Fire Staff upgrade was completed, which I not only grabbed for survival, but also because I had to revive my teammate with it to get this achievement right here for reviving my teammate in 4 different ways in one match. This meant that we only had 2 more achievements left to obtain in this video. And after spending 30,000 points, I got one of those last 2 over Achiever because I had completed every single challenge reward in this map. And finally, it was time to do the last achievement, the final send-off, the most cinematic way possible, which is to ride the tank around the entire map without getting off of it. I saved this one for last because I felt like it would be the coolest one, but as you can see, after riding the tank around the whole map without getting off of it, we got this final achievement in this video. It's over. Oh my goodness, this video took absolutely forever to make. You guys don't understand how long this video freaking took. Way longer than the World at War video, way longer than the BO1 video. This one was ridiculous, but we did manage to get it done. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. This has been unlocking every single achievement in Black Ops 2 Zombies. We've done World at War, we've done Black Ops 1, we just did Black Ops 2, and now it's time to move on to our next game, which is going to be Advanced Warfare. So be sure to stay tuned because that's up next, and I'll see y'all in the next one.